All right. Good morning. Um, Update on my ear first. It's it's not getting totally better, which was a progression where it would get really bad, and meaning that the sound level would get loud. The pulsating thing is only about 2 months old, but then it would die off and my ear would be fine for a few days and then it would creep back up. And this has been going on now for consistently for 6 months. Right now, it's like it's like kind of how it's been the last 3 days. It hasn't gotten any better. I'm able to sleep. I'm able to sleep on this side, which it's weird because I'll wake up and then I'll go back to sleep. And last night, in the middle of the night, it was like 2 in the morning, and I'm sitting and I'm like, oh, my ear's doing better. Fall asleep, wake up a few hours later, and my ear's like worse. Um, and I don't know. There might be something related to something else, like relating to snoring or something. I don't know. I know that probably sounds funny, but um, I'm not sure. You know, I just know that the bad tinnitus thing is new, and that's 6 months old. And that the last I had never had tinnitus that was noticeable until after COVID. Both times I had COVID, and a little bit now and then, but nothing noticeable until right after COVID, and that was like very noticeable, and then it would go away. Anyway, all right. So I recently acquired a ton of VHS tapes, and they're all from like a lot of them are from the 90s, and I've been going through them because I'm gonna have to sell them. And yes, used VHS tapes do sell, depending on how old they are. If they're from the 80s and you have like, um, or 70s even, which is really rare, but you'll have like old commercials from that. People want those bad, especially if like there's really good commercials, and that's what I'm looking for. That's why I've uploaded like three commercials using my video thing for my computer, which works pretty good. That's how I uploaded the Machine concert. Anyway, this is 1/3 of them. I have a fucking ton of VHS. So, and yeah, lots do sell. Not for very much, about 50 cents a piece, depending. I might make as much as $1 a piece or more, depending on what's. I have. There's some. There is some Twin Peaks on some of those, and people might, want those more, or the Olympics and the Olympics. Anyway, yeah, Machine. Okay. God, that's hard to listen to with my bad ear. I'm like, oh, well, first thing I gotta say is, man, I wasn't making any money back. The money that I made was mostly off playing shows. So between Machine and Subvert, I was able to pay my rent, which was always like, back then it was like, I think the most I had to pay was probably like $80 a month or something for, for quite a while. I'd live in like, you know, well, I've talked about that before. I mean, but I got by. Um, and actually attempted to have jobs a few times, and those jobs just jobs got in the way of my fucking music and having, enjoying my life. And so trying to make a living off of music was definitely what I wanted to do. So, um, yeah, I didn't have money for a tuner. A tuner was like, I don't know how much a tuner cost back then, but a good tuner was probably over $100. And it was either a tuner or a place to live and food, because it's like the spaces that I lived in. um I wasn't like couch surfing. I would not fucking couch surf. If I was going to stay at somebody's house for a few days or something, that's fine. But I would sleep in my car before I'd like, beg off my friends to live somewhere for free. I understood that just didn't, it just wasn't my thing. And I usually had enough money from shows. I mean, Subvert and Machine played enough shows where, I always had a little bit of money in my pocket and was able to pay, cheap rent or whatever. So, um, yeah, that was. There's so much to say about Machine. I think that my ego was probably on about level 7 out of 10 back then. I mean, I had in my mind like the way that I wanted something to sound, and I wanted the band to be tight. Um, so I was kind of I was a dominant songwriter in a sense. Um, I was never a dick. I don't think. In fact, I think that I was actually probably pretty cool when it comes to that. I'm never like getting in fights with band members. Other band members would get in fights with each other, um, and quit the band. That's about the thing about Machine. And it's like different members in the band didn't like other members, and you know, um, and at one point, I mean, it was a whole different lineup. You know, the very last lineup for one of the very last lineups for the tightness of the band was fucking amazing. Um, and that was with it. It definitely wasn't the most secure lineup in a sense. And Abe played bass. He was also the singer in My Name, so he played bass for a while. This drummer Kevin Lloyd played drums, and he was a fucking madman, like double bass player. And actually, when Nirvana was looking for a drummer, I gave Kurt Kevin's number, because fucking Kevin could do it, and Kurt called him, and I guess the conversation was, I heard about the conversation from both sides. Kurt was kind of like, yeah, he sounds like he was more into playing speed metal, and Kevin's side of the conversation was like, yeah, I think I'm into playing a little more fast stuff, and he asked me what kind of music. Kurt asked me what kind of music I was into, and I told him like the Accused or DR or whatever it was, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, and just you know didn't really but Kevin, fucking amazing drummer, and I don't know where he is. I hear rumors. You might be one of those people that just like never really got online, and maybe he became a multimillionaire or something. Who knows? Like Microsoft. I don't know. That kind of shit happened here. There's a well, one person I know for sure, but probably quite a few. I just don't know about them all. That had investments or whatever. But yeah. Machine. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now. My ear's a little weird, but it's not to, I think I'm dying level, which was last Sunday. That was bad. Bad. I don't want to talk about it. I'll talk about it if it happens again. How about that? Um, yeah, man, Machine. So, wow, in that video, at the same time, I'm in Subvert, and not for a whole lot longer. I left Subvert, probably, when did I leave Subvert? Would have been probably early 91, something like that, because that corresponded around Nirvana needing a drummer. And I was just I was done with pretty much everything I was doing in Tacoma and wanted a huge change. And everything was kind of like, I just felt like my life changing. So I ended up moving to Albuquerque. But it was kind of like, Tacoma sucked back then. At that point, Tacoma was not cool. In a lot of ways. There was some original music, but when it comes to being even compared to Seattle, not even close. It was rare to have one place to go see shows, back then in Tacoma. Maybe like, yeah, it was just like one or two or something. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot to say there because I actually like my whole frame of mind was just changing. I just knew that this life of what I'm doing in Tacoma, working freaking shitty pizza jobs. If I'm not, it's like I didn't want to do the bands anymore that I was in, and I didn't want to then, work just shitty jobs, and just it wasn't realistic. I was gonna do something else, so that's why I did. Yeah, there's a lot to say. I should do just a whole Machine story video, but it wouldn't. I don't even know if that would be that entertaining, actually, or interesting. Not entertaining. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting to reflect back. I even had a dream last night, kind of like relating to somebody from those times. It's just weird, like nothing to do with Machine, but there was somebody in the dream that I was around right back then. So it was really weird, and I hadn't thought about that person really in a while. So, yeah, where are we at here on time? 13 minutes. I don't know. You guys don't watch these videos for that long. And I understand. But hey, I'm just going to make the video anyway. Maybe there's some people that will listen to it longer. Yeah. Well, so Machine was a pretty freaking crushingly fun and good band. We could be at times really kick ass, no doubt about it, in whatever lineup. And it was fun. We were doing something that was